This is PPI, Pro Player Insiders, offering you the inside scoop on professional athletes. Welcome to the PPI Show with your host, Dave Zotter.
We're back on Pro Player Insiders. Our first guest of our inaugural show is a fitting one. His name, DeMaurice Smith, the Executive Director of the National Football League Players Association. He has held this post since March 2009, and you should know who he is at this point if you are a football fan, given everything that's been swirling around the NFL lockout. DeMaurice Smith, great to have you on our inaugural show.
David, look, it is a pleasure to be here, as always. Love you on Sirius and love the fact that we're doing this together. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just kick it off with what everybody wants to know. Where are we at right now in regards to an agreement?
Well, you know, the sides continue to meet and talk to try to resolve our differences. Obviously, there is a number of different things going on at the same time. We believe that the lockout was wrong, not only for the game of football, but wrong because it violated the law. There's an injunction that was stayed by the Eighth Circuit, a hearing in the Eighth Circuit a couple of weeks ago. But the long and short of it is, for the folks who thought that that there was the false choice between us defending ourselves in the courts and nonetheless engaging in discussions to settle our differences, that is a false choice. We've been pursuing both things. I hope certainly that the mediation continues and that both sides work hard to resolve our differences to make sure that football doesn't go uninterrupted.
If I could, I'd like to read you a quote by Roger Goodell and get your response.
Mm-hmm.
This is what he said about the reasons why the NFL owners have pursued this lockout strategy. He said, "We can't continue to shift the cost, whether it's the rising player cost or the rising cost of operating a franchise, onto our fans. That's why we're trying to get a better economic model. And I think everyone understands that. You are not being left out of the equation. The fans are a big part of that equation and a big part of the success of NFL football." What do you say to that, D?
Well, you know, look, I can certainly understand the media position coming out of the National Football League. We've had really a very simple message since March of 2009 when we learned that they were going to pursue this lockout. If there is a question about the cost, if there is a question about excessive cost, if there's a question about not having enough money to invest, we've always believed there's a very simple way to not only stop talking about all these issues, but to resolve it. Open your books, show us what the costs are. If costs are being unfairly put on the fans, make your case and show it. But that's the way businesses have worked in America for years. Mm-hmm. I don't read much into the quote other than that it's the league's position. The players have not asked for a dime more. The players haven't asked for any more money. We've indicated time and time again that we were willing to continue the 2006 deal. They've argued that they want more money back. We've simply asked them why, and if you have an answer to the question why, show us.
We're here talking with DeMaurice Smith, the Executive Director of the NFL Players Association. When you hear statements like that which imply that your side doesn't have the fans' best interests at heart and those best interests are held by the owners, do statements like that help the process, hurt the process, or do you see it as just like basic media white noise in the background?
You know, Dave, I look at it this way. Our guys are working out right now on their own. Mm-hmm. So the fans, look, I can spend all day talking to the fans about what I think the message is. Roger can do the same on behalf of the National Football League. But let's just look at and see what's happening. The players want to go to work, and they were locked out. Players showed up at the facilities to go in and work out after the injunction had been issued, and nonetheless they were turned away. Despite that fact, you've got virtually every team in the National Football League working out on their own for free. So it seems to me that the proof is there. The players want to play. They love to compete. They love to be around their teammates. And they're working out during the off season to keep themselves in shape because they want to bring a championship home to their home team. So, we can let all the words do what they want. For the fans to know what side the players are on, all they have to do is open a newspaper, flip on a TV, find out what London Fletcher is doing in Loudoun County, look what Drew Brees has been doing with the Saints player. Look at Tom Brady last week working out with the New England Patriots. And you had a group from the Raiders and from the Falcons working out outside of Atlanta last week. So, look, for as much as people would sometimes want to play the propaganda war that the players are in this just for the money, these guys just love to play. And that's why our fans dig them. That's why I love them. But I don't get too caught up on the words coming out of 280 Park.
Now, you say the players as if it's one entity, and the players have certainly been unified. I did want to ask you, a couple of months ago, it seemed like there was noise about an alternative group of players getting together, and then I just haven't heard anything about that over the last couple of months. What happened with that?
I think you haven't heard anything about it because the reporter who wrote it wrote something that wasn't true. I remember the story vividly about some splinter group of 70 players that are imminently ready to file and challenge the rest of the class action, and they were poised.
Those 70 players not exist?
Yeah, it's been 3 months since the story, and not only have we not heard from 70, we haven't heard from one.
Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, this class action is a class action representing all of the players in the National Football League. The players who were the lead players in the class action range from rookies to established veterans, including free agents. The class action represents every range of player, and they understand their role. I look to the player leadership to run their organization, and so far I've been proud of them because not only have they done a great job of keeping their fellow teammates informed, the board of player reps as an advisor to the class are really the people that the class relies on to get advice about what's going on in the mediation and to try to represent all of our issues so that at the end of the day, football's being played. The players of the National Football League are protected. The interest of the owners are served, and most importantly, that the game is being played.
Dee, what's the difference between ongoing mediation and what the media has been calling ongoing secret meetings?
The mediation has continued pursuant to the order of the district judge in Minnesota. And she ordered that not only should the mediations continue between the players and the owners, but that the mediation be conducted confidentially. And I know that there's a tremendous amount of hunger out there for exactly what we're talking about and where we're talking. But I do believe that both the National Football League, the owners, and the players all believe that if this thing is going to be resolved by mediation, it's going to be done by us sitting down, trading the right information, resolving our differences, but most importantly, probably not having the mediation conducted on Pro Player Insider or ESPN for that matter.
I am going to interpret also what you're saying as saying that you don't think at the end of the day this can get settled through the courts, that it's going to have to happen over a table. Is that correct?
Look, the idea was never our issues have never been settled in one isolated venue. Look at the history of the National Football League. We're here because there was a player named Bill Radovich who got blackballed after he returned from World War II and took his case all the way to the United States Supreme Court that created the principle that the league was subject to the antitrust laws of the United States. A collective bargaining agreement was fashioned out of the Reggie White lawsuit. The mediation that we're doing right now flows out of a court case where we sued to stop the lockout. So I know that, every now and then in our current world we try to boil things down to a soundbite, and the soundbite is players are seeking a court remedy and not a negotiation remedy. The reality of it is the National Football League rests on the bedrock of the antitrust laws. The collective bargaining agreement that existed came out of conflicts from those antitrust laws, and resolutions to our issues, I promise you, will not only involve the mediation of our differences, but at the end of the day, I promise you that any full solution and continuation of the game has got to recognize some sort of solution to the antitrust laws. So there is no one vehicle game here. The mediation is designed to resolve all of our issues.
And you say all of our issues. Can you give us at least a vague sense of what the sticking points are at this point? Like, what are those Rubicons that have yet to be crossed?
Hey, I could. I'm not, but I could.
Fair enough.
The mediation is to be conducted, confidentially. So we're never going to talk about. I'm never going to talk about what occurs in the mediation. But
so if Jerry Jones said to you, "We need a 26-game season, or I will be broke," you can't tell me that.
If he said that, I probably would tell you that.
Okay.
But,
okay, that's good. That's a good boundary.
Hypothetically. No. I think it's important for us to continue the mediation process the way it has occurred. I know that creates a hunger for information, but I know that people want the games to continue more than the hunger for information. There were a lot of issues that were fully discussed when we were in mediation in Washington. A lot of them were the same issues that were the subject of 2 years of negotiations between the players and the owners. So, look, I think the mediation has to resolve all of our issues, and that's the best way to make sure that it happens. The court cases are always going to be in existence where either side looks for legal redress for what they think is wrong. We pursued the case about the television networks precisely because we believed that they rigged the TV contracts in order to help them in a lockout. Mm-hmm. They pursued a case in the Eighth Circuit because they believed that the judge in the district court shouldn't have issued the injunction. So, look, everyone is going to protect themselves, but I believe in the mediation process to solve our problems.
This is PPI. Breaking news, in-depth coverage, unparalleled access to professional athletes. Pro Player Insiders with your host, Dave Zion. Get more unparalleled access to pro athletes directly from the source. Tune in next week for another fresh edition of the show or anytime at ProPlayerInsiders.com.